Hello, coucou, salut, bonjour. Today in this webinar, we are excited to have you tuning in because you will be learning everything there is to know about this course, our French through the news and media for L3 or intermediate level learners. And most importantly, how this course will improve your French while having fun. So we are going to cover the science and the fun that goes into our course design and how it drives proficiency. The course content, what you as a learner will be learning and what a typical class looks like in this course. We'll talk a little bit about level. Is this the right level for you? How we define intermediate. And then of course, the course schedule, upcoming dates and times. And just a little hint, we do offer flexible scheduling options and a couple fun perks for adding to your Saturdays. So other options as well. Let's go ahead and get started. I do want to hear first from Clem, who is our Director of Education. Thank you, Clem, for being here on the course design. What makes this such a great course for intermediate level learners?
It's a great course specifically at that level, I'd say, because it is tied to topics that folks would be talking about outside the classroom if they were just hanging out with friends. So through the news and media, like the name indicates, is that we definitely grab topics from, social media, the newspaper, stuff that we all talk about on a daily basis. And so at that level, since intermediate learners are already able to have conversation, it's great because they have enough basis to be comfortable in conversation. We give them a tiny little push to keep their conversation abilities a little further.
So the flipped course design, for people tuning in who maybe aren't familiar with what that term means, what are we talking about when we say this course is flipped?
Flipped means that students have to do a little bit of work before they come to class. So instead of, coming to the Zoom meeting and saying, okay, what are we doing today? And, us serving them the material, we actually have what we call a prep lesson video ready for them to watch before the class. And the intent really is to get them ready for conversation. We don't expect them to master everything covered in the video. It's usually a 10 to 12 minute video. And we highlight specific vocabulary, specific grammar by watching the prep lesson videos, one time to sort of, absorb a little bit, a second time to start taking notes, a third time to really make sure that they've understood what's going on. That gets the students ready for conversation with their peers, with the teacher, and engagement.
And we are also here with Liz, who is a figure skater, musician, French instructor extraordinaire. And she is also the teacher for this course. And she's actually, she and Clem work together to kind of choose the themes that will be talked about and discussed in this course. I do want to go back to the prep lesson videos. Do we have an example that we could share and actually show people tuning in what one looks like?
Sure, I'd be happy to do that, Mackenzie. And I love how you buried the lead about me teaching French. She's a figure skater, she's a singer, but she also speaks French and teaches French. So here's a little demonstration of what our prep videos look like. You can see that they're hosted on Teachable. We have them embedded on our course website. So I'm just going to go through the end part of this video where I'm talking about my own experiences with social media, because this is going to be a topic that we tie in class as well. Ce qu'on pouvait faire sur Facebook était assez limité aussi. On postait sur les murs de ses amis, on mettait à jour son statut, et on se poquait. We do these inductive lessons where I'm using language, right, and vocabulary related to social media, but I'm kind of sneaking in some grammar too. So that's an example of how we do these inductive lessons. You can see here we have everything organized by week. And so the students are expected to go through that prep video 1 to 3 times, potentially. And then there's actually an exercise working on some of that grammar. So here's the exercise that would go with that video that we just looked at, where the students were asked to fill in either passé composé or imparfait according to the situation. And so at this point, we expect students to kind of know the difference between the usage of these two tenses, but it's a really hard thing, especially for English learners to learn. So it requires a lot of practice. And here you can see I'm talking about my use of media when I was young. So it's related to the theme as well. And then the other thing that we would like students to prepare before class is watching the videos. Sometimes they don't have time to watch all of them, but that's fine because we always end up watching each video that we end up discussing in class 2 or 3 times.
And these videos, these are typically featuring native French speakers, or how do we kind of source these videos or determine which ones we use in the class that week?
Yeah, they're all in the wild. They're all like what we call authentic materials, which are for native speakers by native speakers. So this is all media that French people consume, that French speakers consume. I think it's a good mix and a good representation of what conversations are being had in French on these topics.
Mm-hmm. So over the course of 8 weeks, we do cover quite a variety of topics in this course. In your most recent run teaching it, was there one that really stood out or one that the students really loved talking about or learning about?
So we all kind of had a lot to say about each topic. Everyone did, to the point where we were interrupting each other because we had so much to say. But I would say one of the topics that we discussed was social media, and there's just so much is tied to social media nowadays, that sparked a lot of conversation. These are going to be the topics that we covered this last session. So we had a week on the news and media in general, how to determine whether something is a legitimate source, the press system in France specifically, and then we moved on to topics like social media and social justice movements, fake news, conspiracy theories. Lots of fun, relevant topics. I would say that my students have learned a lot of vocabulary in this course because you're talking about things that you don't typically talk about in a French class. You're talking about things that you actually talk about in real life.
We do have a lot of learners who are like, well, what if I'm not on social media? Is this still relevant, for me to learn? And the answer is,
yes.
The theme is really just there to help generate the conversation, to help give students that like practical context for applying what they're learning in class.
We hide the grammar, but we know, because we've done it before, we have good intuition about it. We know exactly what theme certain grammar concepts would work great with. It's just that happens backstage. We're just now revealing the secret, but when you're in class, it's supposed to be subtle.
What does the typical class look like?
I usually start off with just some conversation just to warm up our French and to get them talking. And we get to know each other over the 8 weeks pretty well. So we want to catch up on what one another is doing. So we'll have some just conversation to see what we've been up to since we saw each other last in French. And then we move on to a little bit of brainstorming. So sort of getting at that vocabulary that we'll be using, what they associate with the theme. And then we start talking about different videos. And I usually have some guiding questions to kind of facilitate the conversation. But again, it is very student-led. They are the ones that kind of come with their ideas, and I help them along the way.
So level, there's a lot of speaking that takes place on behalf of the students, the learners in this course. If you are watching this and you're wondering, am I an intermediate level learner? What are kind of some tips for them to be able to distinguish? We do also have a placement quiz, which I will be putting in the description of this video. So definitely start there if you have any questions. But yeah, generally, how can you know if this is the right level for you?
If you are familiar with more like traditional grammar driven courses, if you've learned things like imparfait, passé composé, how to use the two, if you've learned the subjunctive, if you've learned the conditional, you're pretty much ready for this class in terms of grammar. We also want to make sure that you're able to speak as well, though. That's very important. So generally, the students in the class are able to talk about these topics entirely in French.
An intermediate learner is able to carry out a conversation, is going to be understood by a native speaker, but that is not to say that there won't be mistake, hesitation, sometimes slow speech. All of that is fine. But overall, overall the conversation can happen. There's no major obstacle.
There is this myth out there that people think native speakers like Clem are the only ones that can teach a language successfully. Clem, what would you say to those people?
It's true.
I knew she was going to say that.
You know me too well at this point. No, yeah. So it has both, advantages and disadvantages. Liz went through the process that our students are going through with French. I have not. I have a lot of experience teaching French, but it's not quite the same thing. The key is to have both on a team, and that's what we do at Freestyle for all the languages that we teach.
And more than that, she's also gone through the Freestyle teacher training program to make sure, make sure that we go into the second language acquisition, the science behind that for adult learners specifically. So it's not just native versus non-native. There is that extra level that we bring at Freestyle, that you are trained in how to teach others to acquire the language. And all of our teachers at Freestyle have that. Let's move on now to the specifics, course dates and times. This next course is starting June 7th. It is 8 weeks, so it ends July 31st. The enrollment deadline is Friday, June 4th. So be sure to enroll before midnight on that date, Friday, June 4th, if you are interested in joining us, and we certainly hope you do. It is 3 days per week, but what is special about that, Liz? Flexible.
There are so many special things about it. Let me tell you. So you can choose how many days you sign up for. You can choose 1 day or 2 days or 3 days. Monday, Wednesday, Saturday are our days of the week. Obviously, I want you to sign up for all 3 because then you get the maximum amount of practice and input and all those good things.
If you sign up for the 3 day per week option, you will also get a free Saturday Cafe pass for drop-ins that are valid for 1 year. So as Liz says, showing up the 3 days per week, that is the fastest path to proficiency you can take within this course. The more you use a language, the better it sticks. So we want to reward those who do sign up for that and kind of incentivize you to keep coming even after the class ends. So to clarify, the class times are Mondays and Wednesdays, 6:15 to 7:30.
And I love the time that this is as well. It's a good time of day, I feel like, because it's just after work for most folks. And then at the same time, it's not too late. So you still have the rest of the evening to practice your French or do whatever you need to do with the rest of your evening. Go out on the town and speak French with people. And it's a good time to have a happy hour beverage as well. So we encourage that.
Wine the Great Fluency Builder. There is science behind it too. And then those Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. So 3 days per week is definitely what we would recommend for you if you have, high goals for yourself and you want to reach those goals more quickly. However, we do understand we work primarily with adults, that is not possible for every single adult. We have busy lives, we understand, which is why we offer those flexible options. Liz, can you speak to that for a little bit? And you have some students who join just 2 days per week. Are they able to keep up with the 3 day per week folks?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's all about the student, right? Student outcomes are largely having to do with the student's motivation and the student's engagement. If you're still going through the materials on your own in your own time, you'll still be able to get the outcomes that you desire.
And our class sizes are ideal. It's 10 people tops. Then we can really devote time to each student to make sure that they're getting a lot of practice out of every class session.
We also have some other opportunities for you as a learner to get face-to-face speaking practice. One, we have language coaching, or what we also call office hours. So weekly opportunities to meet with your instructor and ask your questions. What did I run into that I need a little bit more extra help with? Do I just want to practice my pronunciation? We would recommend it. Whatever questions you have for that week, showing up, getting that one-on-one time is really crucial and can help go a long way.
When students come to our language coaching hours, they could be talking to their instructor or another instructor, which we designed really on purpose to really create a sense of community among our learners, but also for everyone to meet everyone. All of our instructors have the same, expertise in the field. We can afford to do that. So we really want our students to come to language coaching to meet the team, to meet the different instructors.
So yes, language coaching, office hours, also events. Monthly events. So in this 8-week course, you would actually get 2 events. One would be a happy hour, Liz, right? Of course, that is with your specific class. And what do those normally look like, those happy hours for the learners?
You can bring your own beverage or snack or both to the Zoom with you. And we just chat and hang out in French for an hour. We sometimes play games, but sometimes we just have so much to say to each other that it's just like hanging out with your friends and speaking French.
And then in addition to that one happy hour that would come with your course, this French through the news and media, there would also be an additional virtual event. That one varies, so it depends. In the past, we've done a virtual cooking demo, we did crepes, we've done a live music concert. So we had some musicians come and play for us online and did kind of a lyric discussion. We've done bingo, or bingo's coming up. So those look really different. And the intention behind any event that we do is really just to make sure you as a learner are getting that speaking time outside of the classroom setting, a little bit more free form, working on some spontaneity, just your confidence level speaking. So there you have it. Those are all of the details you should need to register for our French through the news and media course. We really do hope you join us. If you are a true intermediate learner, we designed this course, well, Clem and Liz designed this course specifically for you. So we do hope you join us. And thank you, Clem and Liz, for telling us all more about it.
Thank you.
Thank you.